Okay.
Paper bathtub?
Yes, ready. Let me give a little intro. Hi, I'm Tom B. of Old Tom's Wormery. Today wearing my Pigs in Space t-shirt. It was a wonderful Muppets show. God bless the Muppets. Today we're going to set up the Old Tom's Wormery CFT. This is officially 2x2. It's really 26.5 by 26.5, lined with the pond liner to keep the exterior grade plywood dry, safe, and not rotting for the next 15 years. The bin sits on a redwood base, and inside, which I'll show you now, the bottom is a false bottom made of pipes. So let's go ahead and do that. Hopefully I won't mess up the camera too much. So pardon the jiggly cinematography. Here you go, lifting you gently.
Alright.
And you see inside there, those are the pipes. Below the pipes, you can even see the pan of worms that we're going to put inside. So the pipes are galvanized EMT pipes, so they should never rust. Inside, you see the black walls of the pond liner, and in the corners, the Trex. So the inside should never rot. You'll also notice that the frame is on the outside. Most of the DIY instructions have you make the frame and put the walls on the outside, which means that the compost sits on the frame, causing it to rot. This is a straight shot out. When I harvest, it's straight through, nothing rots. So, okay, the camera angles look good. What we're going to do is first we'll put in a paper liner. The paper goes up the sides a little bit, making a bathtub. That way none of the compost that we put in falls through those pipes. After we put in the paper, we'll put in some cardboard. That's not a bathtub because that's hard to do. Instead, the cardboard will be just flat in the paper, covering the entire bottom kind of flat. So here we go. By the way, this is my trusty assistant, Paul, who doesn't say much, but when he does, it's always very wise. Okay, so then we just sink it. There's our paper bathtub. I used brown craft paper because I have a roll of it. Newspaper works great. If I were doing newspaper, I would probably use 3 layers, maybe 4. Craft paper is a little more resilient than newspaper. I don't want too resilient, just resilient enough. This here's my cardboard. It's cut to be just the right size. When I put it in and give the extra spacers, there, it fits inside the bathtub. And the point of the cardboard is the paper, especially newspaper, just rots away too quickly. Putting the cardboard in gives the bed time to set up. Because what the bed does is with all the life we're putting in there, the compost holds itself together. And that way it stays up on the pipes until eventually we get in there with our little rake and we rake the stuff down. The first raking will include the little paper bits, and all those will go back in the top to then rot into place. So on top of this paper and cardboard, I'm going to put some, it's horse bedding. Horse bedding that's been composted a little. What we want is something that's not too lively. If it's too lively, it rots out the paper and cardboard too quickly. So rather than using an active compost, in this case I'm using a bedding. Making a layer of straw would be okay, maybe a little too stringy. A layer of cardboard shredded would be wonderful. Basically anything that's going to be eventually worm food, worm bedding, but is not too active just now. So we're tossing into compost. I believe you've got a bucket, I've got a bin. And you'll see we're not too careful, we're not too high tech. It's just fill in the corners, fill in the sides, And that is, as I feel it, that's about 4 inches deep. It will settle to about 2 inches deep. And you can put in anywhere from, you could probably get away with an inch. I probably wouldn't, but you could go 6 inches easily. You could go a foot deep for that first layer. What's going to happen when we start harvesting is that won't be finished. And so we'll rake that out for the first couple of harvests and just toss it right back into the top. Then we will take these worms that we've got. So these worms have been growing since mid-September. It's now the first couple of days of November. This is my worm blanket. My worms like a worm blanket because it helps to maintain the humidity of the bed and keeps some of the humidity off the walls. Wet walls let worms wander. So I like the bed to be moist, but the walls to be dry. So we're gonna dump them in. And so in this tray, there's young European night crawlers. There is probably, by the look of the concentration, around a half a pound of them. A pound would be better, but I have time. And they will grow into place. Young, they say, have a better time adjusting to a new environment. So maybe that's a good thing. I also, in another bin, have some cocoons. So in a couple of days, if I'm not happy with how many worms are in here, I can always touch it up with some cocoons. The fact that I've got young ENC and cocoons means that my adults are happy and laying eggs.
And in terms of how high do you want to put that?
How high for my start?
How high could you put that?
How high could you? Like I say, with the bedding, if it went as much as 12 inches, it won't hurt the worms. I believe in the urban worm bag, they say fill it up, which is also a fine idea because that gives all that stuff below time to mature. Right. But in our case, we're, by the looks of it, when you say we have about 4 inches total, if that. So we're gonna spread them out just because it looks prettier. Maybe I'll give you one more peek with the camera. So let's take one more peek with the camera.
Okay.
Sorry for the jiggly cinematography.
And water's okay, right?
So now, there they are. The worms are in there. You can see the bits of the bathtub of paper. You can't see the cardboard because it's covered completely. It would help things settle if we were to water it just a little. The sad part is, I don't have a convenient hose. So, what's going to happen? No, don't worry about it, Paul. Don't worry about it. He was offering to give me a jug of water. I'm going to use a hose so I can do a spray so everything settles. It doesn't need hardly any water at all because the pan of worms had a really good moisture. So that's it. The worm bin started. I will toss the equivalent. This is a feed bag worm blanket. I'll probably do 2 feed bags, or I'll find a piece of bubble wrap plastic. Or my favorite is just a baby blanket. I'll take a baby blanket because those are made of polyester, so they never rot. They hold moisture nicely, and I figure safe enough for baby is safe enough for my worms. I will throw a suitably sized sheet of plywood over the top. I have yet to find an economically viable cover to sell you. I don't want to rip you off selling you a $40 piece of plywood, so I'm going to tell you at the moment, just go get a piece of plywood. Watch my website. Someday I'll come up with a great cover. It will have some wonderful added features. For now, it's just a nice bin as it is. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.